With our Servant's Heart team, we were doing, humanitarian things, but trying to look for opportunities to share the gospel with anyone that God would put in our path. And we came here with our missionaries, who are both licensed Israeli tour guides as well. But it's not an easy designation to get. You have to pass a lot of tests and know a lot of information. You're going to meet them because they're going to be co-hosting us the last couple days in Jerusalem here, because Tito goes to a different group. He was already pre-scheduled. So you're going to meet them. But they were here with us, and we were right where you are, just a little bit further up, but right about here. And we were talking to the group because we had a few people in our Servant's Heart team, young people, who had never been to Israel before. So in the middle of ministering and serving around the country, we also wanted to visit some of the important sites. So here we are, and Lisa on our team, our missionary team, is explaining to our group about the garden, the technical things about the trees and those things, which we'll share with you. And in walks 3 Muslim women into the Garden of Gethsemane. It turns out there were Muslim women from Germany who were here touring without the husband, which allowed us to have opportunity to really talk.
Wow.
What?
Yeah, he was there, but
He was off at a distance. So these 3 women were walking by, and they seemed to kind of be listening as Lisa was doing what I'm doing. They walked behind, and they're kind of looking and trying to listen. And they stood at the end, and Lisa realized it, and she said, "Oh, come, you can listen in." So she custom tailored the whole presentation for those 3 Muslim ladies that were there. They spoke enough English, even though they were from Germany. And we had an opportunity as we walked around the whole garden right in front of the church to give them the whole plan of salvation. Here in the Garden of Gethsemane. I mean, you want to talk about a spiritual high. That was amazing. It was amazing. So every time I'm here now, I think about that incredible opportunity that God gave us. So I hope we see them in heaven one day.
Yes.
Okay. The trees that you see here, there's a lot of talk about the fact that these are the, and I've heard it said by other guides through the years, these were the only living things that are still here today that were alive at the time of Christ. Experts who know the trees and study them say no, that's probably not the case. There are some that are very, very old, and olive trees do. You don't plant an olive tree for yourself or for your children. You plant it for your grandchildren and their children, because it takes a very long time for them to produce and to really get to the point, where they're producing a lot of olives.
they grow slow.
And we know from historical records that when General Titus, remember we were on Mount Scopus when we first got to Jerusalem yesterday? For those of you who were with us earlier, when we first came into Jerusalem, we were on Mount Scopus, overlooking the city. That was the attack zone from armies that were approaching Jerusalem. So when the Romans came and General Titus was there, and he was looking across, when he came in and they attacked the city and destroyed the temple, they also cut down the olive trees from the historical evidence that we have. However, olive trees are extremely resilient, and from a stem, from a trunk, they resprout and regrow. So it's more than likely that some of these trees, the roots of those trees, were actually here at the time of Christ in Gethsemane, and then many of them resprouted from the trunks. Okay, so it's just a point of interest, and the olive tree has such longevity and is good for so many things. Who can mention to me things that olive trees are good for?
Olive oil.
How about food?
Yeah, food, olives.
The oil is right? We think olive oil and it's food. So you have the olives themselves, you have the oil that they give, and what can the oil be used for? For soap, very good. For soap, for cleaning, cleansing, for light, right?
Fry food.
Yeah, the old oil.
For frying food, making food. So olive oil is so it's such a wonderful object lesson, for us when you're thinking, and then the idea again of the squeezing of the olives. And listen, the first squeezing was always the best, right? You get the extra virgin olive oil. That's the initial squeezing of the olives. There are other presses afterwards where it's the second and third squeezing, but that isn't as good. So it's the initial squeezing which gives the extra virgin olive oil, the best quality olive oil. Okay, so let's slowly make our way around.